What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen the titles going out. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Y'all New York Post. This is, it's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of talk with this. Obviously, Nolan Wells' friends, as well as others, have stated and said that Nolan Wells was drinking. Not only drinking, it was drugs involved. As New York Post says, Nolan Wells drank heavily. Chose to stay on a remote island before vanishing on July 4th. So many people are, looking at some fact. Okay, well, and you have a lot of people that have said this. Well, maybe even if he was such and such this, such that. Now it has turned to, I guess, a big issue. Now that I guess Nolan Wells' mom has something more so to say about that. Before I show y'all that, this is Brandon Tatum says that I've been told by reliable sources that heavy drinking and cocaine allegedly played a role in Nolan Wells' passing. Obviously, I've seen this from Brandon Tatum. His friends said it, Post said it. Check it out.
To think that nobody saw it when they're entangled within all these people, I think is a disservice. We need to get to the information that I heard. We'll get to Miss Rachel and her silly self. And Judge Mathis. We'll get to Judge Mathis. But what I was told, and you guys, please take in consideration that it's reliable sources. However, the only way to prove the truth in this is if I see it with my own eyes, if the law enforcement have the investigation of this, and also when the toxicology results come out. But people are messaging me and telling me that there is heavy drinking and there's cocaine involved. And there's a particular person whom I know this person's name. I'm not going to disclose it. I'm going to go to the police first. And then I will disclose it if it doesn't interfere in the investigation. But this person allegedly was offering people cocaine, and someone close to Nolan, one of his friends, told me that this person was offered cocaine and rejected it from this person. And I was also told, and this person told me that it's over 100% chance that Nolan was using cocaine during this period of time. This person said it was 150% sure that when the toxicology comes back, that Nolan will have cocaine in his system.
Now, let me tell y'all something, though. I feel like so many people are looking at the simple fact, well, don't try to put that on him because such and such, the friends, they did this and they did that. Let me tell y'all something. I'm not saying, and nobody should. I don't want anybody, doing that. No drugs, none of that. It's not to bash anybody. It's not to talk about nobody. It's not to do anything like that. I feel like this is something that's very important. Y'all got to think about it. Doing drugs, drinking, and you in the water. I mean, that sounds like a disaster. It truly does. It doesn't sound safe, I should say. I truly find it insane. I feel like so many people aren't thinking. I feel like so many people are using more so a race more than anything, rather than actually looking at, okay, well, this could be a factor. They look to point at the white person, this could be a factor, instead of this can be a factor. They look at, okay, well, let's add him in there too. It's his other black friend. Let's throw him in there. Well, let's stop doing it. Let's stop getting mad at these other parents and get mad at, and actually stop and think. Or not only just stop and think, wait for those actual facts to come out. These are things that is said by friends. There was alcohol, there was drugs involved. Rather than somebody making up something. Like these AI images or videos. You have it right here. It says Nolan Wells' mom says she heard he wasn't heavily drinking and was perfectly fine. Check it out.
What's your assessment on this?
Honestly, I feel like that is a way, which we've seen this before, right? Pattern recognition. We've seen this where things have happened, especially when we talk about the Black community. And, after the death, it's a smear campaign. It's, what can we find out about this person? What can we say? And, that's something, my family and I, especially my husband and I, we definitely do not appreciate. But we can't fight everyone that wants to have an opinion. But also, too, it's part of society that has been allowed to occur, which is it's gut wrenching at best. Because if you were in our situation, how would you feel if there were millions of people who are saying, oh, hey, well, he was at an island, he was heavily drunk. And again, even with the drinking, there are so many conflicting stories.
But I feel like that can go both ways though. You can't sit here and say, she can't really sit here and say, imagine a million people telling me, oh, he was on an island and drugs were involved and this was involved and that was involved. I feel like she can't say that because she gotta look at the simple fact. Think about this. Why you how is she gonna say you got a million people saying there was drugs involved, there was this involved, that this, that, and the other. But then again, there's a bunch of you gotta say what I'm saying is you gotta say both things. Because there are Black people making up AI videos. And not just Black people, but she's speaking on the Black community, making up AI videos or threatening judges. Threatening people, doing this and doing that. Making up different scenarios, all pointing the finger at this individual. When clearly had nothing to do. We don't know. There's no evidence. There's no foul play. There's nothing that we see but you point the finger. So if she gonna say, imagine people saying this, you gotta say both things. It can't be one sided.
Again, even with the drinking, there are so many conflicting stories. Only because I have spoken with adults who knew Nolan very well, coaches that were out there. One in particular, I think he told me he saw Nolan somewhere between like 2:45 and 3:30. He was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. And he was like, he was perfectly fine. Because I think it had bothered him too that there was this narrative of, oh, he was sloppy drunk. Like and it started at the very beginning. It was, oh, he was sloppy drunk. And I'm like, but was he though? Or is this a narrative that you guys want to use to kind of have us just accept that it was a drowning?
I don't think it's more so of an acceptance. I feel like it's just something that, could potentially happen when you have alcohol and drugs in your system. I'm not saying completely that's exactly what happened, but it could be something. Just like people are saying that somebody could have did something. But when you sit there and you make it seem like and you're threatening people and saying, oh yeah, this person did it, and you going after her family just like she's done, and got lawsuits lined up and this, that, and the other. I mean, come on. You can't sit there and say that and then not say the other stuff. I mean, that's just me being me. You got it right here. Ben Crump posted. It says Mississippi officials say a fake, and again saying that a fake report. Obviously about Nolan Wells have been circulating online, while an official report has not been publicly released. Misinformation only deepens the grieving family's pain. We must remain focused on the facts and ensure Nolan's family receive the truth they have been waiting for. Let me tell y'all something. Ben Crump is literally the definition of misinformation. I've seen it with many cases. I've read it off to y'all, and if I got to read it off again tomorrow, I don't have the see. I just looked at the comments. I don't have it pulled up correctly. Like I really should. I'm mad at myself that I didn't. But like I said, I one thing about it, I will give y'all receipts. So I'm not So you in the comments, you talking crazy. I'm sure a lot of y'all do. I got the receipts for that. Sarah Phil's posted, "Oh, that's rich coming from you." I'm telling y'all. Says somebody else said, "We know the facts. What are you doing? You're riling up an entire nation and creating a false narrative." I mean, come on. Being real. Check it out.
First of all, Crump is one of those people that you can almost guarantee if there's the slightest hint of there being two different races involved, he's probably going to be the guy that either gets a call from some organization or makes the call and say, hey, listen, let me take on this case, because it feeds his own attorney's group. I'm sure he's made a lot of money. He gets on TV. He's that guy, right? We've seen this before. But here's the difference in this circumstance. If every time there's a situation where one person is black or a person of color and the other person is not, if you make the presumption, whether it be legally or if you're making it in the public sphere, that this is somehow racially motivated or has anything to do with race, I think you denigrate the life of the person who was lost, because 99% of the time it had nothing to do with it. And on the occasion when it does, I think people should stand up and be heard. But there's no evidence here to support that claim or even the suggestion of it. And I think it's offensive to not just black people, but I think it's offensive to all Americans.
And I mean, honestly, being real about the whole thing, I truly feel as if people need to just realize, to wait, again, when it comes down to the facts. And and again, this is another thing. It reminds me so much, of other things that I've seen. But that's just like something that comes out. And again, we don't know what's gonna come out. But I'm gonna tell y'all, regardless if it comes out and they rule it because it was alcohol in the system, it was drugs, there was no foul play, this, that, and other, people are still going to do exactly what they're doing. Being those internet gangsters, the internet, officers and investigating, and they try to make their own things. They push a whole bunch of fake things online. I've seen some crazy stuff that I can't even post on my channel. Because people are putting so much of crazy things, and it truly is. It bothers me. It truly bothers me. Check it out.
The thing is that to me, I find it reprehensible for people to be projecting as if every white person is the same and every black person is the same. I don't like that. Nolan is not a representation of every black person because his skin is black. And these white kids aren't every white person that ever exists because their skin is white. Man, give the investigation a chance to go through and then make your claims. But to project that white people had to been doing something wrong. We don't know anything that happened. I want y'all to understand that. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows how he died. They just know he drowned. We don't know how he drowned, where he drowned, when he drowned. We don't know the last people that were with him. They have no evidence of nothing. We know nothing. But to project that because he was around white people that it had to have been something wrong is not fair. Now, if it come out and they find out these kids did something to him, then come on and put it out there. Mm-hmm. I want black people to do better than this. Bro, y'all, the whole life is activism. Man, y'all acting like it's the 30s. You ain't got nothing better to do than still be complaining like y'all still slaves. Man, I'm proud of our brothers standing up, but when a black man died, they ain't nowhere to be found.
I feel like that's a big problem that I have.
Black Hebrew Israelites going out saying nothing in the community when another brother killed another brother. And I got 400 videos of showing you just straight violence in the black neighborhood. I sent some videos in our chat. Brothers just doing shootouts in the middle of the street. I saw a video of brother at the gas station. It was a homeboy coming around with a mask on, shoot him. He paralyzed. He dead in the middle of the street. They doing CPR. Every day in the black community stuff is happening, but you don't get no love unless white people doing it to you.
And that's what it is. I feel like I have like I have a real big problem with that. I know a lot of people, obviously, they hate when I speak on stuff like that, but it's true. I mean, you don't have these individuals that's out there, going in these communities and saying this and saying that. No, you truly don't have that. And that's what makes it sickening. It truly makes it sickening. And it's truly not okay that people are constantly, pushing this whole thing out when oh, just because a white person do it. You know, I truly don't like that. Just like Nolan Wells' mom, you know, she got on here and saying, you know, just imagine 1 million people, and I get it. You know, why I can't say that I, you know, get all the way. I mean, they lost it at the end of the day. They lost a child. You know, that is sad. You know, and I do feel for them, but it's the same thing that you can't say just imagine 1 million people saying all is because of the drinking, and because it is. You gotta look at this. If you have people that's, you know, his buddies that's saying, yeah, we was all out there drinking, drugs was involved, this, that, and the other, and then you got a bunch of people on the internet saying this happened and they wasn't there. I mean, who are you more leaning towards of actually believing? You gonna believe somebody that's on the internet that wasn't there, has nothing to do, they just hopped on a wave of Nolan Wells and his family? Or are you actually gonna, you know, somewhat try to see exactly what's going on with the friend that's actually there and what they saying? And I'm not saying that nobody should completely, but I'm saying just people got to think. You know, people truly got to think. And if alcohol and drugs is involved, I mean, again, that don't mix. You know, that truly doesn't mix. You got it right here. Do you believe Nolan Wells was unalive? Can't say that word. But y'all let me know in the comments down below. Definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch y'all next one.